Hey everybody, it's Matt. We are back. I've got some results today. It's June 17th, 2025. 3-month blood testing today, which I've been kind of excited about, hoping that we would be able to reduce the dose if the numbers showed that, and I still have my hospital band on, just to make it official. So just real quick on that, I woke up, I felt pretty good. The appointment was at 9:30, and it's about a 45-minute drive, so I had breakfast, pretty big breakfast, because if you watched one of my previous videos, I won't get into it here, but this past October I had a lot of blood work done, and I ended up passing out. It was this whole thing. I still don't know why, because that's not something that, even though I do get lightheaded and those kind of things, I normally don't have any issues, kind of doing the blood draw. But so since October, I've made sure I had a big breakfast, and I did. I had a huge breakfast. I had leftover blueberry pancakes from Father's Day this morning, 2 of those with real maple syrup, piece of toast, piece of steak from last night's dinner. I had all leftovers, and some roasted cauliflower and carrots and onion. I know it doesn't sound like your typical breakfast, but I filled up, had a nice, like a glass like this, full water, and then a half in a black coffee. Stay hydrated. So did all that at about 8 o'clock, drove down to the appointment, had the blood drawn right here. 9:30, then we went back into the office. My oncologist is on maternity leave, so we were seeing the nurse practitioner. My wife and I are waiting in the little hospital room, and then like a nurse assistant came in with some apple juice and cookies and said, they want you to drink this, Matt. It's like, okay. And my wife's, well, why, and she said, I'm sorry, I don't know, and she kind of walked out. So my wife said, well, check your patient portal. We were still waiting. We had to wait a little bit today. I checked my phone. We figured the results probably were ready. I didn't know if they would have hit the patient portal, but they were in there, and my glucose was at 52, which is low. It's the range they give is like somewhere between 75 and 125. And so since I started a year ago with my blood results, I looked back to see the chart, and I've mostly been in the 90, and then around October, when I wasn't feeling too hot, it's been slowly going down about 10 or so points or whatever. So 52 today, and they weren't overly concerned, but you do have to be careful about hypoglycemia and whatever the diabetes type stuff, and so I thought, well, I had a huge breakfast. Why would it be so low? And we really I didn't get any answers. And I'm kind of baffled by it, actually, but maybe one of you know, or have experienced something like this. But so again, big breakfast, had some carbs, obviously. I even had that maple syrup on there, so I know there was some sugar in there. And I do want to probably cut back a little on my sugar intake, because I love sweets, I love cookies, and lots of whatever I do, but maybe I'll try to cut back on that so I don't have these spikes, but here they are at the hospital, drink apple juice, and I'm looking at like 50 grams of sugar and stuff like that. So I don't want to fall into this category, but it could be the Besremi driving it. Okay, I was going to try to make this quick, and I am rambling. So, and I haven't felt too great today. It's just been a little up here, and I think maybe some of that had to do with it. Maybe some of it got in my head from the doctor's office, but I was like, I am feeling just a little, I wouldn't say dizzy, but maybe not my best. But on the good note, and I'll try to make this quick, hematocrit was at 39.5, so it's in range. That's one of the most important markers my doctors are looking for. My white blood cell count is still low, so even with the reduced dose, it's remaining below where it should be. It's 2.6. It should be in the 4.0 to 11 range, but they weren't concerned. They know that's from the Besremi. My platelet count is down, which most of you, I don't know for sure, but I see a lot of people talking their platelet counts are really high. So mine's actually on the low end right now. Red blood cells are low. My RDW, which I talked about in my last video, for the first time is in range. In a year, the first time it's been in a range. So that's really all good news. And then just the glucose was the other thing, and at 52, and the range is 75 to 125, so it was pretty low. So try to watch that. I don't have another appointment again for 3 months. My doctor will be back from maternity leave then, and we'll go from there. But the good news is they talked to the pharmacist on the team, and they're going to lower me from 150 to 100. So I'll be doing 100 micrograms moving forward, so next Friday. And I asked about maybe changing the frequency, and they recommend against that. Something about the 2-week window with your Besremi. So if you do it on a Friday, the following Friday, 1 week, it's kind of at its fullest. And I think the second week, it's almost like at a half strength. But beyond that, so if I went to every 3 weeks or try to stretch it to a month, I think it starts to lose its effectiveness. Please don't quote me on that. I just was kind of getting a little information about that. I'm sure there's some good information online, but I think that was it. But I'll take the dose reduction happily. And all right, that's it. So thanks for listening. Sorry for the ramble. But yeah, we're on a roller coaster, some good days and bad days. I am feeling better. I've eaten quite a bit today. I had a couple other really healthy meals. I had some fruit, trying not to, again, go, oh, well, I'm low sugar. Now I've got to start eating sugar. I know that's also not the thing we want to avoid, highs and lows with that. So God bless you guys. I did pray for you before my appointment this morning, as I do in the mornings. And yeah, take it easy. Thanks. Bye.